Eat with a Purpose. I'm natural food chef and registered dietitian Stephanie Hoban, founder and owner of Ripe Cuisine, Houston's only healthy plant-based food truck. Today, we're gonna be cooking up a Caesar salad, but not any Caesar salad. It's gonna be a massaged kale Caesar salad with roasted Brussels sprouts. This Caesar dressing is really the star of the show. A lot of times when people are switching over to a plant-based diet, they've got some favorites that they miss from their animal eating past. So I've got a great substitution and a really easy recipe that pretty much only involves a blend. Before we dive into that dressing recipe, I want to get started by roasting these Brussels sprouts. We're going to need them later to top the salad, and they take a little bit of time in the oven. If you've never cooked with a Brussels sprout before or used them, they're super easy. There's nothing to be intimidated by. First, you're going to want to cut off the end piece here, and then just root to top right through the middle. Brussels sprouts are like little mini cabbages, and the more you roast them, the more time you give for the natural carbohydrates to caramelize and the sugars to develop, creating just such delicious flavor. So now I've got them all cut up. I tossed them in a tablespoon of oil, 2 teaspoons of balsamic vinegar, about a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, and a little black pepper to taste. 400-degree oven. Give that a roast for about 20 to 30 minutes. Get them real crispy and develop a lot of color. One more step before we can get to the fun of the dressing. I promise it's coming. I'm kind of teasing you, I know. We're gonna prep our kale. So we're gonna massage this kale. I washed it, and now we're just gonna remove the stem. The really easiest way to do it is hold at the bottom and rip with the other hand, and it comes right off. And you wanna just break this down into bite-sized pieces. Make it really easy for you or your friend or whomever you're cooking for to eat. So we'll just show you a few more here. I just rip with my hands. It doesn't have to look a certain way. We're gonna massage the dressing into it, so it's gonna get really soft and luscious in a bit. So with all of our kale washed and picked, we're finally ready to do the dressing. First, we're gonna start with some soft tofu. Don't let this part of the recipe scare you. You won't know what's in there. It makes the dressing creamy and thick and rich, substituting out all that dairy that's traditionally in Caesar dressing. So I know a lot of people can be intimidated also. How do you even work with tofu? What is the packaging like? As you can see, I'm just cutting right into the plastic here, and it sits in water to keep it fresh. So you just want to pour that water off. For this recipe, we're only going to be using about 4 ounces, so you're going to have some leftover tofu. It works really great in smoothies, and also just Google soft tofu, and there's lots of recipes out there. If you're going to have leftovers, you do want to keep it submerged in water. So we need about 4 ounces, which is about 1/4 pound, which is about 1/4 of this pack. So you can see I just cubed it up right there, into the Vitamix. It also is going to call for balsamic, miso, Dijon, lemon, and tamari. And we've got all the measurements for this down below in the description, so don't freak out. So that goes in. We've got 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, a tablespoon of capers, as well as 1/2 cup of oil of choice. I'm using a avocado oil. It has a really neutral flavor. You can also use, obviously, olive oil or grapeseed oil, whatever you have on hand, whatever you prefer. You don't want something too strong so that it doesn't overtake the rest of the flavors in here. Then we've got 1/2 sheet of nori, and this is sort of the secret weapon of this recipe. This is a recipe I've been tweaking and playing with ever since graduating from culinary school. Shout out to the National Gourmet Institute. I riffed this recipe from them, from learning it in culinary school. And the nori kind of takes place of the anchovies that are traditionally in a Caesar dressing. You get that same salty sea vibe that you would get from the anchovies from the seaweed. And a little bit of black pepper. Oh, and nooch. So my bad TV crew there didn't set me up, but that's okay. By bad TV crew, I mean myself. So that was a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper and some nooch. Again, recipe below, and we're going to blend. Awesome. So we've got our Caesar dressing. For extra bonus points, you can toast up a little bit of nuts to add on top of the salad. I have a mix of both pine nuts and almonds. Use what you prefer, omit them completely, whichever. If you're balling on a budget, go for the almonds. If you've got a little money to spare, the pine nuts. So I've got a hot pan and I'm just gonna constantly move these so I don't burn them. Get a little heat on them so you get them golden. We just got our Brussels out of the oven. You can see all the nice caramelization that we got on them. And the little leaves are crunchy. Those are my favorite part. And this technique we did with the Brussels really applies to anything. You can serve this with pasta and stir fries, with fried rice, on salad, just like we're doing now, just as a side veggie with whatever else you're having for dinner or lunch. Main event, you're gonna want clean hands for this. We've got our Caesar dressing on top of our picked and washed kale and just pour it right on there. And dig in. And it feels a little weird and strange, but I promise this is what you want to have happen. The fat from the dressing is actually what's gonna break down the kale and get it really nice and soft, and why we call it massage. We're really massaging it. If you find big pieces, you can break them apart with your hands some more. Okay, so we're gonna plate that up because that's looking perfect. And then you're definitely gonna want a towel or a sink or something nearby as well. So we've got that right here on our plate. We'll do our kale. Oh, look at that, so delicious. And this is just something different than your normal Caesar salad. Obviously, if you wanna go the traditional route, by all means, but I wanted to give you guys something to play around with in your kitchen and not be afraid to explore different things. Our Brussels and our toasted seeds. Woo, look at that. Just swirl some right on top, a little drizzle, to die for. Absolutely to die for. Okay, I've got to try this now. Giving it a taste. Well, guys, I know you're gonna love this. It's just such a different salad with the warm Brussels and the crunchiness from the nuts. And the Caesar dressing just does an amazing job to make the kale so palatable. I guarantee you're gonna love it. It's gonna change your relationship with kale. The dressing is so rich and so flavorful. You don't taste any bitterness or any greenness that kale gets a bad reputation for. So I really hope you can try this salad. Let me know what you think about the Brussels, about the dressing, about anything, what kind of recipes you want to see next. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. I'm gonna eat all of this salad right now. Lemon balsamic miso Dijon tamari. Another episode of Eat with a Purpose. We've got a lot of nice. I'm eating them. Caesar dressing.